Well, we're moving on up to the east side.
What do you think we should talk about next?
The one that I have to stare on the notes for. Let's talk about when you already own a house and it's time to buy your next house.
Your next house. So what we call the move-up buyer.
A bigger house.
Exciting times, right? You know, you're ready, you're past your first house. But with what's happened in the market the last 5 or 6 years, this has become an increasingly challenging proposition for a lot of people.
Right. The average American moves every 5 to 7 years. Our parents used to buy a house, live there for 5 to 7 years, have another couple kids, move to a bigger house, sell the old house, use that sale of that house as 10%, equity, theoretical equity, to put down on their next house.
And that's the big key. In the last 5 to 7 years haven't exactly been a big equity building period.
No.
More recently, things are looking up. And so what we've seen in the last year, really even maybe the last 6 to 9 months, are a lot of buyers who already own who are looking to buy their next place.
Mm-hmm.
So this creates kind of a unique dynamic. And again, you want to think about this before you find the dream house, because that's one of the problems is people go out or they don't even mean to be looking and they find the one.
Yeah.
And you can't just write an offer the same way you would if you're not already in a home. So you're driving down the street and you see this amazing house and you think that's your next home.
Honey, that's it.
What should you do?
Well, I know we can't go back in time, but in my mind, it would be great if you could talk to your realtor when you start to get the first inkling that, in 6 months, in a year, we think we want to sell and buy another house.
Before the dream home presents itself.
Because it is tricky, because what happens is when you make an offer on that house, you are...
Contingent.
Let's explain what that means.
So contingency, sometimes, particularly in a fast-moving real estate market, contingent can kind of be a dirty word. And what it is when you write an offer on a home and the purchase of that home is subject to the sale of your home. And there's two kinds of contingencies. There's the lesser of the two evils. And what you're looking for is a pending sale contingency. And that means you've already put your home on the market, you've got an offer on it, and you're just waiting for it to close. Versus writing an offer on another home and then you put your house on the market. You're talking about...
So just to clarify that, the ideal situation is you put your home on the market, maybe you're keeping an eye out on a few precious possibilities, but you're finding your price, you're getting your buyer, and you have something under contract that's really going to happen before you make the offer on your house. This can be an act of faith because you can list your house,
right,
and the house you like could sell before your house sells.
So that's one of the most critical things to think about when you're talking about buying your next house or a contingent scenario. Where are you going to go? Because the word we don't like to hear people use is homeless. So if you put your place on the market and nothing panics a family faster than, oh my gosh, where are the kids and the dogs going to live? Truly, because it's a much bigger deal to find temporary housing.
That said, in our modern age, it's become easier and easier, right? You can have pods show up in your driveway, you put your whole house full of stuff in there, and those will be taken to your new house in a month or 2 months. Pricey,
but you can't live in your pods.
You can't live in your pods. You have to live with your mother-in-law.
Okay, and
that makes you a motivated buyer.
Seriously, we love those. No, really, you need to have a talk with your parents or your in-laws or your best friend or somebody
your banker, hotel budget.
Yeah, who has a studio or short-term rental. If you have dogs or cats, that's another really big thing because securing a short-term rental is not nearly as likely. So don't wait until you've found the dream house and then you're trying to make everything work. You need a game plan for moving, for temporary housing, and you need to talk to your lender. Big piece.
So I want to talk about 2 other possible less common options in this situation. So the first would be, instead of selling your first house, you become a real estate dynamo. I actually really love this. I've had a lot of clients do this in recent years. They didn't intend to become real estate investors, but because they couldn't sell their first house for what they wanted to get for it, they rented it out and then bought their next house. Now, the rules around that have gotten more strict. So what you would need to do is rent out your house and then rent somewhere for 6 months and then buy your next house to show the bank that you're not just going to let it go as soon as you buy your next house. Or you need to have a certain amount of equity in the first house so that the bank feels good. And just talking to any lender to have them take a look at your situation, they'll let you know if you can rent out your first house and buy your next house.
And again, this might start with a call to a realtor. What's the value of my current house? okay, we can or can't sell for a price that we're okay with.
Let's
Great.
talk to the lender.
Talk to the lender, see what our options are. This can be a 6 to 12 month process. I mean, realistically. So get started on it. If you feel like you're outgrowing your house or you want to be in a different neighborhood, you really need to get moving on it ahead of time.
And one more rental option would be to sell your house, get what you want, do it the way you want, move into a rental for 6 months, and look for your dream house at your leisure.
And the great part about doing that is you become a fantastic buyer. You're ready to close in 30 days. You will find, one thing we didn't say explicitly about a contingent offer is a contingent offer from a seller's perspective often is a little weaker. And so you will either pay, you might pay a little more.
It's a lot weaker.
It's a lot weaker. So you're going to pay probably a premium price to get your dream house in order to get that contingent offer accepted. And sometimes
you won't win a
worth it.
bidding war. There'll be
Right.
2 other buyers that want your awesome house, and they're going to be like, this is a bird in the hand, and that's the one that has to sell their house.
Yep. So just be prepared for those contingencies, as it may be, and talk about it ahead of time.
And I mean, this probably sounds a little self-serving, but the key...
But who cares?
Here we go. It's our video. I mean, the key is you need to find an experienced real estate agent and an experienced lender that knows how to handle these dominoes that need to all fall at the precise time. Should I not call them dominoes?
No, that's great. But it just reminded me that the reason you need that team in play is because there needs to be great communication. And you may not see a lot of that on the other side of the deal, but for us as agents, when you're lining up contingent sales, you've got 2 sales, all the parties associated with those, and these people need to talk to these people, and escrow and the lender. There's a lot of moving parts. So make sure you're all on the same page.
Experienced team. This isn't the time to use your nephew who just got his license. Oh,
Really?
sorry.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Well, we're moving on up. Moving on up.